welcome everyone. On behalf of ICMCI and the board, I'm just delighted to welcome you all to this first in our series of webinars and online seminars. I think of the online seminar as something where we are sharing information face to face. So this tool that we have for Zoom is very, very good. I'm going to share my screen just to first of all, to show you one thing about our, I didn't want it to do that exactly at this moment. Just one second. Learning the technology. There we go. So I think if we may suggest two things. One is if you can mute your microphones while unless you're speaking to the entire group, that will save on feedback that works across all of us. The second thing, I have a couple of slides just to start the conversation, but this is all about you. What we want to hear today is from all of the institutes and for you to share information with each other and for us at ICMCI to learn about what's happening and to understand how we can best support you. So I have a few introductory slides just to set the tone, and then we'll open the mic, open it up to each one of you to share information with us and to have an open discussion. Then in about the last 10 minutes, we'll change the topic to get insights from you about, from your perspective, how can ICMCI do a better job or change the kinds of things it's doing to help support you in this time of crisis. What you can do in the Zoom profile, what I'd like to do is I wanted to share my screen with you to share that, but when I do that, it goes into share screen mode, so it looks differently. But if you hover your mouse on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a number of different little windows, and in about the middle is one that says participants. If you click on the participants, that opens the window which shows the names of everyone that's there. And on the bottom, there's a little button that you can push to say raise your hand. So if you use that raise hand when you want to speak during the day today, then it makes it just much easier for all of us to see who wants to speak, and then we can manage things more easily in that way. In terms of today, I don't have a lot of introductory remarks because I really do want to hear what's happening in all of the different institutes. I want to thank Rima and the Secretariat for all the excellent work that they've done to get this organized for all of us. And Johanna, I'm glad to see you on because Johanna is in charge of our social marketing, and many of you will have seen what we've done through our social marketing initiatives. The only point I wanted to make as we're talking is that COVID-19 issues are impacting us all to varying degrees. So we all are business people as well, and it's impacting us personally. Working at our institutes, it's impacting us because the client base is changing, and our customers, our members, the management consultants who are members of our institutes are being directly impacted. So the first round, we call it the tsunami of change, this is from McKinsey, is impacting us now. And we're trying to figure out how to work through that. But what we need to bear in mind is that there are additional major tsunamis of disruption coming. So we're now dealing with COVID-19. We will soon be dealing with the economic recovery. The projections are now starting to come in terms of what that recovery will look like, but where there's no question that we're going to be moving into a recession in most countries, and that is going to end up in being a recession globally. So that's going to have a major impact for us. There will be the return to work. So as different, and some of you are starting to experience this now, as the companies start to open up, that changes things again. And then finally, we'll have this new normal. And in fact, we're going to be, in some of our seminars upcoming, we're going to be talking about what does that new normal look like for consultants, and what does it look like for industry. So I don't want to take too much time because I'm really anxious to hear what you have to say. So we'll move to the discussion phase, but first I'll turn it to Rima for any opening comments that Rima has to make.
I just want to say welcome everyone to this session. Thank
Oh, you're muted, Rima.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been speaking.
You were talking for a while and then it went mute, so.
I'm sorry. I just want to say welcome everyone and thank you for joining us for those sessions. Please do remember that we have 2 sets of timing for each session. What we're going to do is make sure that they are recorded and they are on our YouTube channel. And thanks for Ihona for arranging for that to happen. The subjects would be of interest, we believe. We're starting with this session, which has to do with the IMCs themselves and how we can interact and learn from each other. However, the upcoming sessions have to do also with consultants. So we would be talking about issues that they would be facing, how they can work with it, and how they can enhance and adapt with all the changes. So for this session, thank you IMCs for being with us, but do remember that for the other sessions, it would be great to also have your members with us. Again, welcome and back to you.
Okay, so let's open it up for discussion. Who would like to start? Let's leave it open. I would very much like to hear about your situation in your institute and some of the initiatives that you're taking to support your members at this time. Lydia, perhaps, actually I should pick on you. Perhaps Lydia, as the chair of Asia Pacific Hub, perhaps you might open the discussion for us just to give your sense of what's happening in some of the institutes and what you're doing in your own institute.
Okay, I think I must apologize that I can only speak for the Institute, the IMC Singapore. The truth is, I have not really asked around how they feel. It was more on a personal level, worried about their health, their safety, and their well-being. I've been asking them very frequently more on that than about work, to be honest, because I feel that especially the Eastern culture, it can be very sensitive. We must give, give top priority to the safety and well-being of our friends in Asia Pac rather than asking them about work. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, okay. So that's the reason, was more on a personal level, exchanging a lot of emails about their well-being and how are they and their family and all that. And it has been very, very, I would say, rewarding because the best in people came out, from all this dialogue, with them. So I didn't really touch about work. I thought I'd just leave it for a while. I can only speak for IMC Singapore. Now, IMC Singapore, unfortunately, we are very badly hit in the sense that we have up to today, we have the highest cases of COVID-19. We have more than 10,000 cases. Our fatality is very low, though. It's only 12 to date. We have exceeded 10,000, unfortunately. And why this is so we became number 1 in Southeast Asia after Japan. Why this is so is because we have 200,000 foreign workers in Singapore. So substantially 80% were actually came from the foreign workers. Okay, that's a scenario. So a lot of businesses are very badly affected by this. As a result, our government has given 3 packages to help businesses, to help household, to help all across the board, amounting to over $60 billion. But generally, conditions are very bad. And a lot of consultants, of course, have all their projects been cancelled. So if I'll speak on two fronts. One is on the institute. What are we doing as an IMC? What we have done is we have formulated a roadmap consisting of strategic priorities, and we have set up 9 committees. Each committee is headed by 1 council member. We have 12 council members in the whole council. I think 2 of our council members here, Dr. Adrian Chew, welcome, Vice President, and PK Lim, who is council member. They are both on this call. I see their name. Oh, I see Shinlet too, huh? Okay, so anyway, what we have done, we have set up 9 committees. And what are the 9 committees? To give you a few. One is membership, because we all want to attract and retain members. And number 2 is membership services. We want to provide value-added services to our members. Skill development, we want to upskill our management consultants. Business development, which is a 4th committee. We need to create new channels of revenue, because relying on just the membership fees is really not enough. 5th committee is communication and branding. We find that we need to honestly have a higher profile in IMC Singapore, and of course indirectly we always promote ICMCI as well together. So we are in the midst of a branding process. We are also in the midst of upgrading our website, which we will incorporate all the branding essentials. The 6th committee is quality and standards, because we want to ensure that our processes are of gold standards. The 7th committee is infrastructure, in other words, facilities, and whether we need to move the new premises. The whole is all about infrastructure. And the 8th committee is international, which is headed by myself. And the 9th committee is actually constitution review, because IMC Singapore is now 32 years old in Singapore, and I think to be relevant, we need some constitutional changes. That's part 1. That's as far as the IMC Singapore is concerned. Now, part 2, which I will try to be short, but nevertheless I shall share, is that what about our members? You know, we have to care for our members because they are all very badly affected. So we have created 2 community of practice. Community practice 1 is business excellence, touching on all aspects from technology to people to processes, the whole works, based on several pillars of business excellence. The other community of practice is actually digitalization, because Singapore is very obsessed with digitalization, and we must be in alignment. Now, we find that the benefits of a community of practice are as follows: educating and sharing information, support and collaboration among members, encouraged by promoting the work of members in the community of practice through discussion and sharing, connecting members who might not elsewhere have the opportunity to interact at all. Okay, so I think these are the 2 key things. I shall stop here and give other an opportunity. All right. Oh, by the way, we have a vice president present as well as a council member. Have you got anything else to add? 2 council members here present. Dr. Adrian, have you got anything to add?
Well, I try to get myself unmuted. I think you have excellently presented the case for Singapore. So right now, I'll be listening in to all other reactions before I make a formal comment. Would that be okay?
That is perfect. Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for that excellent report, Lydia, and it was a very good start for the session. This is exactly the kind of information that I think is helpful. I just did want to show everyone. I've figured out how to show you the screen here now. If you look at this screen, this is a screen capture that I just made. On the bottom of your screen, you can see all of these different icons. In the bottom left is the one which says, in the center, it says participants. If you click on that, then a small window on the right opens and you see all the text of who's participating. And the bottom there, you see the little blue hand. That's how you can indicate to put your hand up. And then that way we can have an order for talking as we go forward. But we'll leave it this way so that all of us can see each other. Also, you'll see a small blue arrow on the side of your screen. If you click on that blue arrow, that shows a whole other screen full of people who have joined us. So we've got a very good response today. So who can we ask to share information of their institute, as Lydia just did for Singapore? Please go ahead, Salal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone, and I wish you good health, you and your beloved ones. And I hope we will overcome these difficult days soon. I want to inform you about the conditions, the situation in Turkey very briefly. The first corona case has been identified on the 10th of March in Turkey. Now we have around more than 90,000 cases, corona cases, and fatality, the number of fatality cases is more than 200, it's around 200, 235, something like that. And the daily increase is around 125 people during the last 1 week, around the same number, 125 plus minus 5. But we didn't reach the peak level at the moment. They say it will take another one week or 10 days to reach the peak level. So as YDD, the Management Consultancy Association Turkey, we are doing our regular board meetings on digital platform, and we have organized an emergency meeting on the board level, on the first level of Corona period, and made a plan for the period. And we decided to organize webinars on each Wednesday to open to our members and our customers, to a bigger community. Just yesterday, I have delivered a webinar on ISO 20700 to the members, and around 80 people has participated. It was very active, very interactive. And we are also inviting speakers from other organizations to talk on relevant subjects like digitalization, how to tackle with difficult situations in Corona period, like sustainability, adaptability, leadership in VUCA period, VUCA conditions. And we also organize webinars in cooperation with other associations like Business People Association, like other business organizations. So that's the situation in Turkey in brief. We continue all our activities on digital platform, and we already started to develop the digital versions of our training courses like Management Consultancy 101 and like ISO 20700. We are going to deliver ISO 20700 digital version on the 5th of May. And we try to continue under these conditions. And we hope we will go back to normal situation in the middle of summer, like beginning of July, something like that, if everything goes as expected with the curve of the pandemic situation. Thank you very much for your attention. So that was all from my side, from Turkish side.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Jill.
That was an excellent overview. I should mention, and I just sent a text message to everyone, we can also share information and discuss and ask questions on the text, and Rima and I are both monitoring that as well. Who would like to give an update on their situation next?
May I ask Philip to tell us what IMC Austria are doing, because they're one of the larger IMCs with the many number of consultants and CMCs. And I would like to know what they did in order to support their members at such times. Is that okay, Philip?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Yes, in Austria, we've been in lockdown as of the middle of March. Currently, we're in the phase of preliminary reopening of the market and the commercial sector. We just got an announcement, or the information for yesterday, that the services sector should be able to operate more freely as of next week. The whole country had been in a lockdown of in home office, and we didn't have as strict measures as in other countries. We were allowed to move to a certain extent freely, but business and services were basically down to a minimum, and only through web-based services. So we're in the phase of reopening. In Austria, we have about 15,000 registered cases. We've reached the peak about 10 days ago. From then on, the number of healed cases is larger than a number of new sick people due to the coronavirus. And there is a decline at the moment that is very ongoing, and that gives us hope that for Austria, at least for this region, we've gone over the lockdown has had its effect. The great insecurity at the moment is as to whether through opening measures we will have the same situation that Singapore has experienced, that there will be a second wave of corona incidents. So that is something that our government is very closely monitoring, and something that we are very well aware of, that any measures on opening, if there is a second lockdown, it'll be much more harder on the whole society than the first time that we had. So we're very careful that these declining numbers stay on a declining path. Basically, our government has also implemented a number of help programs for businesses that have lost their income and their revenue streams. That's one thing where we've been very closely involved as an association as such. Our association, at the moment, the first thing that we did is that we postponed any membership fees that were due in this time period, because a lot of our members are at the moment cash strapped, so we would not be able to there was a signal from our side that we wouldn't go into sending out invoices for membership fees. So that's one thing that we did. It will have a financial impact on us. We're not to a later time this year, we will probably try to send out at least reduced membership fee invoices. Otherwise, our organization, even being a large organization, will be in a critical situation itself. Concerning our members, we have also implemented various webinars throughout the country mostly on a regional basis. These webinars also focus on the question of how to deal with the crisis, how to help customers in the crisis, and what are certain learnings that come out of this. We have an institute where for the certification processes that we have, such as CMC and other certifications, and management consultancy training courses. These have been all implemented on a web-based levels. So all seminars, all certification processes are now done through web-based services. This has worked out very well. We've had minimal loss on these services, and the uptake through our members has been quite good in these courses. One thing that we're going to focus on for the future is how to deal with turnaround processes. We do believe that very many companies in Austria will be in immediate need of restructuring. There'll be a lot of bankruptcies that will be coming through during the course of the next months, and that's a field where we believe that our management consultants will be their services will be very much needed in helping companies overcome these difficult times, and how to avoid complete bankruptcy and to ensure a structured turnaround. So we will be focusing on this on the one side on the legal issues. What's the legal side of the bankruptcy law in Austria? What do you have to take account of? And also on the management consultancy side of turnaround processes. So the main topics that we've had up to now was how to help immediately our members in overcoming these months through funding of the government, focusing on information and training services through web-based services. And there's one last field that we are working on for the government, that is we believe that that many companies will, as I said, on the turnaround side, they will be in the need of professional consulting or professional external help in managing their business, and we are trying to secure a separate funding from the government so that the government would fund consultancy services for other companies or for small and medium businesses that are not able to finance these external services themselves at the moment, but will be in the need of external professional help to overcome the crisis. So that's something that we're working on, to have a second level of funding that is not only for companies concerning their immediate financial needs, but that is focused on external services to help them get onto their feet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, and thank you for that update. Could we hear from one of the smaller institutes? I'd be very interested. Perhaps in Asia, I think I saw Tuya came on from Mongolia, or one of the other smaller institutes that you can tell us a bit about what's happening in your situation and how your institute is coping. I said smaller, but I meant newer. My English is not working very good at this time of the morning.
Hello.
Hello, Tuya.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Pleased indeed. Thank you for this opportunity to meet everyone after a very long time and not easy time to communicate and to collaborate and just to carry out our activities. However, we are slowly but surely learning to live under COVID-19, and I'm sure we will get better. And it's indeed extremely inspiring and to listen to other institutes' experiences. And this is quite important topic in regard with the Mongolia situation in terms of COVID-19 is we are doing quite all right. We closed all our borders for 3 months now, and we have 35 cases registered, no fatalities yet, and those 35 cases are all from the international travelers and who are coming home or who are traveling from the other countries. So far we are doing quite okay. And however, as everyone, every country in the world, country's economy is down, especially we heavily depend on trade and exports and imports and mining. So basically that all indicators are down, and economy, the forecasts are not great, like it's no surprise for everyone. And however, that we have not much lockdowns here in Mongolia, and so every activities, and apart from the some service organizations, that every business are doing as normal. And for our institutes, that we are obviously doing all our activities based on online and webinars. So we're doing the monthly webinars and discussion and meetings over online facilities, and re-strategizing our 2020 plan. And we are working with our members and consultants based on online facilities. But we are closely working with our major stakeholders, with the chamber and then EBRD and some other NGOs. And Mongolia is in the midst of getting assessment done for full membership. So just in summary, we are doing normal and trying to improve our effectiveness of our operations under the new circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you for that very good update. Jackie, you've raised your hand, so please, I'll turn the microphone to you now.
Thank you. Look, good to see everybody here. It's a really good number that have turned out. You must be quite pleased. Just a quick update about the New Zealand situation. We have had 1,450 odd cases here and 16 fatalities. We went into lockdown a month ago. We closed our borders quite early in the scheme of things. So we're currently on a level 4 lockdown, and we move to level 3 next week, where things will ease slightly and some businesses can reopen at a very moderate level. People seem to generally have been coping quite well with the lockdown process. On a personal level, from a financial side, obviously there's been an enormous personal and business cost. As an institute, we are a small institute, although we are celebrating our 50 years in New Zealand this year, which was to have been a very big milestone, but somewhat difficult to celebrate in the current situation. As an institute, we are having our regular council meetings by Zoom. We will be having our AGM next month, also by Zoom. We are looking at webinars that we can potentially offer our members. We have also set up a weekly end of week informal drink and chat session where members and other people can just join in for a Zoom session and have a rant or a few laughs, or just discuss how things are going, and that seems to be really well received. We're also involved in discussions with one of the government departments about the way that we can sort of move forward and continue to help consultants and generally small businesses in this country get through as we get into the recovery phase more. So yeah, that's it for us really. It's just a bit of a wait and see at the moment, and try and just support members as we see opportunities to do so.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Who can I call on next? Chisera from Italy. I see your smiling face there, and you've been one of the harder hit countries. Can you give us an update from your perspective, please?
Yes, good morning to everyone. Thank you, Dwight, for giving me the voice. Actually, Italy is very affected by Corona, as you know. I try to tell you the figures now. Our government declared the emergency status at the end of January till the end of July. So in this time frame, our government can issue new regulations in order to cope with Corona. And we have introduced the lockdown in the middle of March till the beginning of May. Actually, the number of affected people are around 200,000. But we believe to have reached the peak because the number of dead people is decreasing. Yesterday we had around 500 people dead, but the number of healed people is increased, and now they are around 50,000 healed people. Our situation, the hospitals, is improving because there is a global effort in helping the hospitals and physicians and all the personnel. We have in Italy measures to help families, professionals, and also companies. What we are doing as association, we are working within a federation in Italy, and we issue almost daily news regarding how to apply the regulations, how to ask for sustainment and so on and so forth. So as an association, we are issuing newsletters to help our members. We have now to do training using e-learning facilities like this one. We have planned webinars, and we have a good participation, as Selal in Turkey said before. So we are doing almost the same. And we are also thinking as Austria to ask the government to apply discounts to companies which want to use consultancy services because they cannot afford them. All of us are in smart working mode, and our office in Milan is now closed and we are in smart working mode. And the conference centers where you were for the international conference is closed till the lockdown will finished. It is expected at the beginning of May, but we are not sure that it will be so. There is a paradigm in Italy with the 4Ds, called the 4Ds, which is distance between people, at least 1.5 meters, devices like surgery mask, as Joe is wearing in this way, diagnosis. So, for instance, for companies, security measures, measure the temperatures, wear masks, use cleaning rules, and also the other is digitalization. This is important for us because we have to change completely the way we are behaving. For many of us is used to smart work, but not everybody. A big change also from the social perspective. So this is the 4D, digitalization. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Cesare, and lovely to see you, lovely to hear you. And it's been a long time since Milan, but you brought up good memories for everyone who attended, I believe. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I would love to hear from Mr. Fukuyama, please, about Japan, what's happening in Japan, and what the IMC itself is doing in order to support the members. Is that okay, Mr. Joe? But you need to unmute, please.
Okay. Oh.
Yes, now we hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me? Here? All right, thank you.
Yes.
And first of all, can you see my face?
Yes, we can see that, and we can see the mask.
I'm wearing mask. Now, in Japan, now is PM 4:30, okay? And we are now in the office. Japan's restriction of lockdown is weaker than US or European countries. Japanese government requested us to stay at home, but many manufacturing companies are still working. Most of our client is in charge of manufacturing or any other kind of business, right? Like that. This week, I am still working, nearly half of my duty. For example, Monday, I am in charge of working. Next day, I am at home, like that. This is our situation. By the way, today, it is a very rare occasion, okay? Now, I am Fukuyama, and next of mine is Mr. Takeuchi, former Zennoren AFMO chairperson. Until 5 years ago, he was chair of Zennoren AFMO, okay? This time, we are attending two, and plus Mr. Murata. Very rare case. Usually Japan just join, just only by me, one person. But today, we are attending three. By the way, this situation is very big problem for us. For example, very fortunately, I have very good client company to provide for me to provide consulting service. But very unfortunately, usual training courses are denied, do not be held. Because government asks us, do not gather. we must stay at home. But many our client companies, mostly manufacturing companies, requested us to provide consulting service. This is our situation. And today, let's introduce one of another my boss, Mr. Murata. Murata, come here. Come here and use my computer. Come here. Another Japanese will join. He speaks better English than I.
Thank you, Joe. Your English is perfect. I believe everyone understood what you shared.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Murata. In Japan, the number of people being infected by this corona is increasing very much, though the death rate is kept quite low. In fact, Tokyo is something quite different from other parts of Japan. Three of us now here is in Nagoya, and everything is kept quite stable. But in Tokyo, every day, still the increase of people being infected is increasing. I think this increasing rate is higher than that of the United States, Italy, France, and all these other countries. And generally speaking, small companies, including large companies as well, are being stricken, very stricken heavily because of this. And many people don't want to go out of houses. In fact, Prime Minister is telling us not to use the public transportation facilities as much as possible. And according to what Prime Minister spoke to us, we are supposed to 80% of the people are supposed to confine themselves inside of the houses. That was only 20% allowed to take a walk out of the houses. And so in the busy streets, in the big cities, we cannot see many people, only a limited number of people walking in Tokyo, especially in Tokyo, everywhere. Nobody is walking. But it's, and Osaka and other big cities, seems Nagoya is something a little better to compare to other parts of the major Japanese cities.
If I may ask, now with the training, with you not being able to hold the training face-to-face and in rooms, are you trying?
Training, but especially those training being conducted for Japanese are all discontinued, and especially Japanese government schemes having all the participation from other countries like JICA and AOTS. We've been conducting quite a number of training, and those are all discontinued. We, being a management consultant, we are giving training in the past months, but the client don't want to take part in those training programs.
You didn't turn into virtual type of training?
Pardon me, please?
You didn't turn into providing training or professional support through virtual means?
Really, we discontinued conduct of training because we closed our operations of the factories. We closed the offices one after another. So when we had all this scheduled training program, we have been canceling one after another. So that at this moment, the industrial operations are now totally down.
sorry to hear that, and I know that this is affecting all the countries, affecting all the IMCs as well. But what we need to do as ICMCI and institutes is to assure that at least we're providing support to our members, to the consultants that are operating out there, and that will at one point be most asked for by the clients, especially the small to medium businesses, most probably, who would need proper support from all of us in order to continue with their providing services and making sure that they do not end up closing their businesses. You wanted to say something else, please?
It's a concern. They are visiting the client companies, and so they continue the operations, giving consultations, services, but the training, having all the participation of 20 people, 30 people in the same conference room, and people are getting together, are all being discontinued.
Rima,
thank you very much.
May I add my comment?
Please.
Okay. I think after the end of this spread of coronavirus, COVID-19, probably senior consultants who have many good clients can survive. But problem is younger generation, junior consultant who don't have good clients cannot survive. It's most important problem, I think. Do you agree with me?
And that is why we need to support them, right?
Okay,
I mean, that's the role of the senior consultants, to support others as well in order for all of us to prevail through this. Mr. Sha'ir, you had your hand up. You wanted to share something with all of us. You need to unmute, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank you all for this webinar. Thank you and wish good health for all of you and all your people in your countries. I just want to say that this pandemic, you know, is a very tough one, and it features one of the most important things is the uncertainty. We don't know what is going to be tomorrow. That is the main problem. Now, at least I want to talk about Jordan, even though I myself is strangled in Australia and cannot go back to Jordan. But I have a continuous communication with my colleagues in Jordan. I would like to say that Jordan has taken a very strict measures from the beginning. And I think we are lucky that we have a very much control over the situation. But still, our government have a very strict rules, you know, concerning everything. Jordan, as a small country, we have our people working with the neighboring countries. And we have lots of our businesses with neighboring countries. Now, as all the world almost is living behind closed doors, no more doors opened, no more transport. So our people are still sitting where they are. We are trying to do good for them. Some courses we were forced to cancel them because we cannot gather people in places, but we hope that we can replace that by some kind of electronic communications, you know, or online courses for that. The total lockdown actually has brought a great difficulty to all our people. I think we share with everyone the same problems they talk about. We cannot move from one city to another. We cannot move even inside the city like Amman from one area to another. And we have a few days, a total lockdown. People cannot go outside their homes totally. And in other days, if they can go walking, they cannot use their cars. So I will say, you know, that I hope that this pandemic will end in a way or another. But with the uncertainty as a consultant, we would like to look at how the world will be after, because quite a lot of businesses are going to close. There will be no more work. There will be quite a hell number of people, out of their work. I don't know. I would like to hear from all of you how we can help, in resuming the life again. And this is, I think, a big job, which we all hope, that we can cooperate and exchange ideas for knowing how we can help ourselves and also how we can help our countries and clients in that. Anyhow, thank you very much for this. I learned quite a lot from the experience of the Italians and the Japanese and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jafar, and I do hope that you get back home soon. We know from the many announcements, especially the EU announcement of its plan that Yohana shared with me, thankfully, is that airports won't open till next year, March 2021. So keep safe. You're with your daughter. You're not anywhere strange. You have our colleagues from Australia as well with you. So you will survive. That's for sure.
Thank you very much.
Everyone, I need to put out some sort of a proposal because we're kind of nearing the time of finishing this and we haven't heard from everyone. And I would like to really know what each IMC would need from ICMCI in the coming days, because the purpose of all of this was to share ideas, share how IMCs are reacting, how they're supporting their members, but also for us at ICMCI to learn how we can support you better in providing that to your members. So any of you who attended, and I know many of you still didn't have the time to speak, but please do share via email. Send me your thoughts, send me anything that you want to share with everyone. We have our newsletter coming up. Maybe we can add notes from IMCs to each other. Maybe we can focus on the best practice type, and if an IMC is doing a great thing, we will just immediately include it in the newsletter. We have another session towards the end of this day and maybe morning for some of you. We'll talk to a different group that also registered, and we might get more ideas from there. So we will start the sharing of ideas, sharing of info. This session is being recorded. It's going to end up on our YouTube channel, so you can hear it over, and maybe if there were ideas that you felt you could transfer into doing it at your local IMC, at your national IMC, those could be learned as well. Feel free to communicate anytime with whatever ideas that you may have. Okay? Dwight,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much to everyone. In the chat box, I've sent you a link to a website that is published by McKinsey, and they have been doing some very good work. They update this every few days, and you can find in there, if you scroll down, there are some links to download some excellent graphs that you can use in PowerPoints for working with your members in your institutes, because they show some very good models and some trends and so on. And there's also a larger document that can be downloaded, which is giving economic output and forecasts around the world and in different countries. So do check that out. The other thing we can do for you is there's been a lot of really good discussion in the chat box, so we can save that and share that as well with members, so that it gives you some idea, if you didn't have a chance to watch while we were talking, to catch up on that. So Rima, I don't have anything to add except to thank everyone for being here. This is a very good turnout. I think this is just the start of a journey that we're taking together to share information in different ways in this new virtual world. Rima, I
have one thing to ask of everyone. Could everyone please put on their camera and for us to take a photo? Because what we're trying to do, one of the main things we're trying to do is make sure that this is reflected on our social media, because as you know, we can reach you, our members, the IMCs, but we also need to show your members that you are also doing something in order to support them. So everything would go into social media, and Yohana would like to take a photo of this at a great attendance, actually. And I want to thank you again for being with us. Thank you for sharing. And remember, my email is there for all of you to also add to that. And maybe we can start a full loop in our newsletter to have everyone learn from each other. Thank you again. And Yuhona, you tell us when to smile.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, in
Bye.
1
Thank you.
second, if anyone can just smile. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I did
Thank you.
as much as I
Bye-bye.
could fit everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to see you, even if
Thank you.
virtually. Keep
Thank you
well,
very
keep
much.
safe, and our regards to all your members at the IMC.
Keep safe and healthy.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.